The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to boil a rotisserie chicken. I'm not really buying anything from scratch. I didn't really want to have to sit and wait for a uncooked chicken to cook. And I like the rotisserie chickens because you get a little extra cool flavor in there, especially if you get like a lemon pepper or a Cajun rub kind. This is just a regular rotisserie chicken. I filled the pan all the way up to almost to the top because I want to get a lot of broth at it. It's going to get cooked down as the chicken is cooking, and I really want it to all pull apart. This one already kind of pulled apart because I had a little trouble with the string, but I think it's still going to work out fine. The bones really add a lot of flavor to it. You're going to get rid of the bones obviously after you're done. I think I'm going to boil this for about an hour, maybe less. It depends on how fast it boils and how much it cooks down. Okay, the chicken's been boiling for about an hour, maybe a little more actually, and it's pretty much pulling apart the way I want it to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the chicken from the broth, and then I'm going to debone everything. I'm going to take all the meat off and put it back in the broth, and that's when I'm going to start adding some of the other stuff. So this is just the chicken chunks. I've deboned everything. I took everything off the bone and just put it back in the broth. I'm just have it on low right now, and I'm going to start chopping up some vegetables, and I'm going to add those, and then I'm going to let it cook on a little longer, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And I was really careful, and I'm kind of looking again. I don't like bones. I hate bones. In fact, it makes me kind of want to vomit when I run into a bone in a soup. So I'm really careful about that. As this cooks more too, I'm not really worried about these big chunks of chicken because as it cooks, they're going to come down even more. It's going to like pull apart on its own. I won't even have to do anything. Okay, so I know this looks kind of weird, but this is what I'm going to put in the broth. I took a bunch of celery and I cut it all the way down to the quick pretty much, and you'll even see the little leafy things in there. Don't worry about that. Just throw it in. It's all going to cook away. It's not a big deal. I took one whole onion, and then I have a bag of already cut little mini carrots, and then I have 3 bouillon cubes. Didn't add a whole lot of salt because I already had some garlic salt on here and some pepper, some fresh ground pepper. And the bouillon cubes have a lot of salt in them. So all I'm going to do is just put this right in the pan, hopefully very carefully since this is all one-handed. I have this really cool cutting board. I love it. Makes it so much easier to do stuff like this. Just stick it all in there. Okay, then I'm just going to stir it up, and if I want to add more pepper, I want to add more garlic seasoning, you don't have to add garlic seasoning by the way, or if you want to add more salt you can, but the whole point of this is to kind of keep it as salt-free as possible. And now I'm just going to cover it up. I'm going to simmer it, and once the carrots are fork tender, that's when I'm going to add my dumplings. So this might take about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how high I cook it. Not really worried about how long it takes, as long as your carrots don't turn to mush. You're good to go. So my carrots were done. I was able to take a fork and go right through them. So that's when I knew it was done. And the next thing I did was I took a full tube of biscuits. I mean, you don't have to get the flaky kind. You can just get regular biscuits. I don't care. But these are on sale, so I bought them. I did about a tube and a half, and I put them in here, and then I quickly covered the pot. And you do not want to peek. You need to make sure that nobody lifts the lid, period, on pain of death. I mean, seriously, don't let anyone lift the pot for about 20 minutes because the steam and the boiling water, that's what's cooking your dough. So if you lift it up, you're letting go of the steam and the dough isn't going to cook like it should. So you want them to still be fluffy dumplings. You don't want to be soggy dumplings. And, you know, I'm lazy. Like I use the rotisserie chicken. You know, I'm going to use the biscuits in the tube. That's how my mama did it, and that's how I do it, and I like them. So that's it. I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes, maybe a little longer, depending on how it looks when I get done. And then I'm going to give it a whirl with a spatula, and it should be done. What time it is? It's been about, actually over 20 minutes. It's probably been about 30 minutes. And my dumplings pretty much look done. I'm going to, ooh, ow, that hurt. I'm gonna lift the pot. I'm gonna lift the lid of the pot. Yeah, they're done. And I'm going to go ahead and give a nice good stir. Get everything in there. Yep. A little hot. I think there might be a little burnage at the bottom, but that's okay. But seriously, this looks so good right now. It's ridiculous. If you could smell it, you'd be in heaven. If you want to add a little more water, you could. I mean, I think it's cooked down a lot, and I could probably, you know, deal with adding a little more water to it, but I really think it's actually okay. And you see how the chicken also separated more? Pretty cool. We are done. I'm going to turn off the heat, let this cool down a little bit, and then serve it. My chicken and dumplings are done, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to ladle some of it into this nice little bowl. I added a little more pepper because I just like a little pepper. And here we go. Looks kind of like a matzo ball soup in a way, just because the dough is the way it is. It's nice and thick. It's not too soupy. I think the dough tends to thicken up the sauce a little bit. It just looks really yummy though. I think I'm going to add a little bit of sriracha because that just sounds really tasty. Get away from there. Sorry about that. And sriracha's just like a Korean hot sauce, and I don't happen to think it's all that spicy, but it does give a nice little extra oomph to anything that you cook. And that's it. Chicken and dumplings. Very easy to do and really, really tasty, and it smells divine. You need to make that sometime.